G'day, welcome back to another episode of Togl. Oh, you probably don't expect to normally see me looking like this. I just popped up to the block. We've just had like 4 or 5 days of really bad rain. The whole of the east of Australia has, and you would have seen that on the news. I had a few people contact me. Hey, are you guys all right down there in Tassie? Yeah, we're fine. It's not worrying us none. Down where the rental is, it wasn't worrying us none. Anyway, thought I'd better pop up. Now we've got a bit of sunshine and feed the bees. And when I was coming up here, that hairpin bend I should say, that was all frosty a while back, right near there, the road was closed. I had to drop a U-E, go all the long way around, come back again, did what I had to do up the block. If I'm going to come back out the other way, the way I would go home, just see why it's closed. Maybe the bridge is out. It's not the bridge that's out. I'm going to show you what I found up the road here, right behind me. Let's go and have a look at all that now. Okay, so the first thing we notice is that a bit of water, a bit of dirt, mud on the road. And I'm looking right up there. The road looks bubbled there on the corner. That doesn't look right. So I'll go up and have a look at that. So, by the way, this is the second time I've walked up here. The first time I didn't have my phone. I didn't have any camera gear with me because I wasn't planning on doing anything. So I had to walk back to the car, get my phone. So have a look in here at the side. You can see all those cracks forming. All those cracks up through there, across there. All that ground is very close to slipping. And up here, there's an even bigger crack. Look at that up there in the red dirt. That really big crack. All that dirt is just threatening to slip. Not only that, it has started to slip, because look at this. It's pushing up all the bitumen into a big bubble. Here comes another car coming down the road. They're probably one of the people that live up this way. Oh, it's a mess. It is. Yeah. So this is the last of it though. It's good from here on. Yeah. Yeah. It'll be the long way in and out once they start fixing all this up. Cheers. You too. So you can see this is all slipped along here. There's big cracks in the dirt. Like I said, all that bitumen. And look at it all bulbed up here. I don't know if you can tell how, that's probably about 3 foot. Probably not 3 foot, sorry. Probably more like 1.5 foot, 2 foot. It's probably about a bit over knee deep there. But yeah, that's just really bubbled out. The water's just got in underneath all the soil and whatnot. It's all bulged out over here as well. Like, just right across there. We'll keep coming up here a bit further. That's not all of it. A lot of dirt, gravel all over here. It's quite a big drop off down there. So I thought maybe the water was all rushing down their driveway. I don't think it was. Where that old trampoline is, the ground is actually sunk. And all the ground here is cracked. The road's all cracked. Right, give you an idea of that. Size of that. This crack over here is even. But if you come up here, you'll see where all this water's coming from. It's not running down off, it's running out from underground. It's coming out right there. There's no water up above here. It's all pouring out from an underground spring. Got so wet underneath, the whole lot's just pushed out, pushed up under the road, bulged everything up, everything's cracked and slipped down all the way down there. So I have chatted with a couple of the locals, and they reckon that the road could be closed for anywhere up to a couple of months getting fixed. You can see all the dirt has just bulged out over the road here. Now we do have another way of getting in. It's just a longer way around, that's all. Instead of being 25 minutes to get up here, it's probably going to take us 35, 40 minutes. It could be worse. Could be 2 hours or something silly, but still, it's yeah, painful. But luckily, no one lost any houses or property, except the guy that owns that bit of property. It's now sitting on the road. And here you can see more water just gushing out of the side up there. And then up around the corner here, I'll just show you in a minute, there's one more little slip. I'll show you that in a second. So that's where we were, down there where all that road's really bad. There's another little slip in there, and bit of a slip here, lots of rocks and stuff, and then there's a bit more of a slip just here. You can see the tree out on the road, and that's it. That's all the slippages. So yeah, council have a lot of work to do now. Yeah, so had we been living up here, we would have been inconvenienced somewhat, but it's not really going to worry us too much. It just adds a bit of extra time on getting down to wherever it is that we need to go. There's 2 other ways. There's 3 lines into our place, and this is just one of them that's been cut off. Happened to be the shortest one. So yeah, I just thought I'd share that with you. Sorry about the fact that everything's in reverse, because it's on my being filmed on my phone. Mind you, I'll see if I can flip it around. If that yellow sign that was behind me a minute ago, if you could read that fine, then I managed to flip it around on the software. But if it was like in a mirror image, then yeah, I couldn't work it out. And that's what the phones do. It's annoying, but that's what the phones do. They flip the image on you. Anyway, I need to keep heading back down home now, because I've got other things to do down there. After a week of rain, the lawn is very long. I think I need to get some mowing done, so I'll go and do that. Sorry if this film's been a little bit shaky with this phone as well. Alrighty, I will see you in a second for whatever the next thing is I'm going to show you. I have no idea. We'll see. Well, this is the next task that we're going to do. It's a beautiful day up here today. Best one we've had so far. The days just do keep getting better and better, apart from all that really nasty rain we had last week. Washed all that road out. But anyway, beautiful day. Now, because we have had a few days without rain, I need to water the veggies and all those seeds that we've planted. So I need to get that IBC full again. And the way that we do that is we've just got that little stream that I built the bridge across, and we just pump some water out of that. So I've got my Jenny right here. This is my small one. I've got the power cord there, so what I need to do now is run the extension cord down to where the pump is. You'll see this black pipe just here. So the pipe's already in place, the pump's down there. I just got to connect the cord up to it, get the Jenny started, and then we'll get the 1,000 litres pumped up to fill that IBC. Then I can do a little bit of watering later on today. Okay, so this is where I've got the cord hanging up for the pump. Right there, plug that in, and then over here I have the pump. It's only a little pump at the moment. And I normally pump out of this corner just here. We've had a little bit more flooding down here recently. Look at all this gravel that's built up. This is normally a lot more empty. I need to dig that out a bit first. My whole dam's been... Oh, I see what's happened. This, I think, oh no, the whole thing's changed down here. I was going to say that fell over, but that hasn't fallen over because that's already upright. So, yeah, this used to be where I'd pump from. Everything's pushed through, dams build up over there. There's a deeper section here. All that debris pushed up and pushed my my stick here that has the clip for the pump. There's the clip for the pump. So that's okay. It just means that I should, if the pipe reaches, be able to pump from over that side. And that's actually quite a deep hole, so that's good. That's what I want. And the pump just reaches. My feet are getting wet. Okay. What I can do is put a little bit extra of this pipe on at some point, and I'll be able to get it into this deeper hole right here. So, yeah, the creek just keeps changing. Move some of them bigger rocks out of the way. I don't want to be sucking up rocks or gravel. Okay, here we have it. Okay, so just want to clear more of this gravel out the way. Alright, there's quite a bit of clearance under that now. That shouldn't be sucking anything in. Alright, let's go get the Jenny started. Got a wet sleeve now. Not to worry, it'll dry out fast. All right, let's get the Jenny started. Here we go. Turn that on. And choke. Now what we'll do is we'll go over to the end and see if we've got water coming out. Look at the blossoms, they're beautiful. That's our cherries. And there she is, pumping out. So I will go to the other side over here, and we need to get up here. So this solar panel runs the electric fence. This solar panel runs the pump that's in the box. So there we go. And because it's totally empty, I'm just going to flush out some of the mud that's in the bottom there from last year, last season I should say. we'll just give that a rinse out and I'll get that filling. Well, pretty much the task for today is going to be milling up timber. I need to mill lots and lots of timber. I need 1.5 inch thick timber panels for the other 2 raised veggie gardens, and I also, once I've got those veggie gardens done, the next task I want to do is actually making some modifications to the roof on the little shed down there, and I'm going to need some timber milled up for that as well. So I'm just going to spend the rest of the day milling, get as much milling done as I can, and yeah, we'll see how we go. I always think I'm going to get X amount done, and I always get about that much of it done. As you would if you've been following this channel for a while, as you would know. So I've got heaps of logs around, no shortage of logs, so I'm just going to start getting logs on and just milling up, and I'm just going to spend the day milling. It's already close to 11 o'clock in the morning because I needed to fill up that IBC. I also went around and changed all the fluids in the 12 queen wasp traps that I'd put out earlier with that lorry lure stuff. So I went and replaced all that this morning as well, and a couple other little bits and pieces that I got sorted out. So that's all done. Now I can focus on milling. So in about an hour or so, it'll be time for lunch. Got a couple of burgers, I'll cook them up and have a nice break. But the great thing is now we're into daylight savings, the days are getting longer. I've got daylight until almost close to 8 o'clock at night, so I've still got plenty of hours ahead of me to get working. So with that being said, I'd better get cracking. Time to go and get a log. In place, just a small one to get me started, and then I'll move on to the bigger ones. So I just want to scrape some of that bark off because there is mud in it. As I said an episode or 2 ago, you get little bits of mud and rock and grit in there. It's really bad for the blade. It's like when you're chainsawing, you don't want to touch the ground because even just soft soil, it's just so abrasive and it will dull the teeth really quickly. So I'll clean a little bit of the bark off, just the outer stuff, and get it into position, get it braced up, and then I'll turn the camera back on and we'll mill up a couple of slabs. Well, it is warm up here today. I'm sweating just getting the log ready. So, log's in place. The plan is I'll take a side off, I'll flip it over 180 degrees, take another side off, then stand it up on its end, take that side off, flip it over that side, basically make it so that it's got the 4 flat sides. Then what I can do is I'll then have a standard size, and then I'll just go through it at 1.5 inch increments and just make some really nice planks. One thing I will be doing, because I'm milling blackwood, is wearing a mask. Because the dust from blackwood is actually cancerous. It's got little fibres on it, so it ends up being a bit like asbestos. It just causes emphysema or whatnot. So mask on and hearing protection. Now, because I didn't get all the way through that, the log had tapered down, so I cut up and I came out before I got to the end of the log, so I'll just take another lot off before I flip it. That mill is cutting like a dream now. As I said before, it was all user error. There's nothing wrong with the mill. It was just a combination of mistakes that I was making, but I've got it all sorted now and she's cutting beautifully, so very happy with that. Makes for a lot more relaxing, less stressful evolution. Let's get this flipped over. And there we go. Turns out my camera turned itself off automatically. Thank you very much. So I don't know how much of that you got. If there was a lot, I'll have some of it in fast forward anyway, but there we go. So I've finished off the log now. 7 planks I got out of that, probably about 1.8 meters long, 1.5 inches thick, 7 planks. That's pretty damn good. Plus the 4 sides I'll use as firewood. So yeah, pretty good. Let's take this down to the veggie patch and drop it off, and then we'll come back, we'll get another log on. Have it. Lunch is served. A couple of beautiful burgers, lettuce, cheese, the hamburgers on some Turkish bread. Lovely and peaceful and quiet. Okay, I've sliced up 3 logs so far, and the logs that I did have, they weren't too bad, but they were a bit wonky and twisted and whatnot, so I didn't get great slabs out of them. So I decided I want to get a good log and get some really good slabs out of it, just to make sure I've got enough to do these garden beds. And I think it's time that I had a crack at this one. You'll remember this one came down in the storm right across the road here. And all that dirt behind me, the whole root system just lifted straight up. So what I need to do here first is, this is actually, this part right here breaks into 2. So I need to cut just back a little to get rid of that fork, and then I'll have the nice straight trunk. So the first cut I make will be about there. Get that off, and then I'll measure in 3.3, and I'll take another piece off. Now I don't know whether this is going to keep tipping this way, whether it's just going to stay dead out horizontal and be perfectly balanced, or whether as I take weight off here, the whole thing's going to flip back up again and all that'll flop down. I have no idea. So I'll be playing it very cautious and making sure that at the slightest movement or whatever, I know to get out the way. So it's pretty clear around here. I'm on the road area, I'm not on a slope, so I've got exit point that way, exit point that way, so that's pretty good. Get rid of some of these little branches, so I don't want to trip over them. Alright, clear. for this first bit because the gap at the top is starting to close in. Okay, I've cut completely through that. I'll probably just bring the tractor down to push that end out the way because that's pretty heavy. Now I don't believe that it's just balanced and hovering there because just in under that I did put a big timber round, so that if it did come down it wouldn't completely drop on the ground, especially I didn't want it to pinch a chainsaw. I'm guessing that's exactly what it's done. So now I'm going to measure up to 3.3 and take the next piece off and we'll see what happens. The situation we have at the moment is that the gap started to open at the top. That to me indicates that if it's opening at the top, it may be starting to lift up, but it's still joined over on the other side. Now over on the other side there's water and mud in there, so I'm going to grab a plank, put it across so that I've got something decent to stand on, because yeah, when that falls off I don't know which way it's going to go. So, and what I might actually do is I'm going to go and grab one of the straps, and I'm actually going to strap this front piece of log back in this direction so that it can't fall towards me. So I'll get all that set up as well. I'm up here by myself, so I've got to play it safe. Okay, I got the log strapped back to a very large tree over there. I've got a plank down in there so I can stand back over the water. I'll make this final cut, we'll see what happens. Well, I got to say I'm happy with that. You guys are probably thinking, well, that was an anticlimax, but that's exactly how I wanted it to be. So the log didn't roll towards me because I had it strapped back, so that was good. The other end didn't flip up. It looks like it's now perfectly balanced there. I'm not going to chop the next piece off today, but it will be interesting to see what happens when I finally do chop the last piece off flush up against that dirt, whether the dirt falls back or not. So yeah, anyway, I'm going to get this log out and get it up onto the mill. We're going to mill that. That'll be the last task for today, is just to mill that. Well, it's getting pretty late in the day. I managed to get the log to there. I can't lift that log with that bucket, like no way. He tried all the tricks, even tried lifting one end. It struggles to lift one end. It doesn't look as big as the other bigger one that I had on there, but I think it's just more perfect in shape and a lot more dense. So what I've done is I actually cut a couple of ramps out of wood. I'm going to see if I can roll it up onto it. Failing that, I do have a couple of other ideas, but if I don't get it up by rolling it, those other ideas I'll have to wait till tomorrow, because it is starting to get late and I need to get home for some dinner in a minute. So we'll see how we go with this. Well, woo, I cannot believe how well that worked. That was so easy compared to other ways I've struggled. I should have done this ages ago. What I did was I measured the distance from the top of the track to the top of the support rail. 10 centimetres. Then I grabbed a slab of wood, and I actually, when I put this on the timber mill, I propped one end up. So as I cut through, I ended up with a wedge. This is going to be a part of my arsenal from now. I'm keeping this sucker and the other one. So yeah, 2 wedges, and just pushed it up. That's awesome. I'm really happy with that, because that's now going to be me done for the day. So I'm just going to do a very quick tidy up. I'm going to sit down and have a quick chat with you as well. So I'll be back in a minute. Well, it's been a big day up here today, and I've got plenty of timber cut up over there to get the garden beds done, and then when I come up next time, that big log, well, next time being tomorrow, that big log, I'll get stuck into that, and I'm going to get all the timber I need out of that, finish both of those raised garden beds, and probably extra for other projects, so that's really good. Now, last week, I've been showing you a bit about the bees over the last few episodes. By the way, they're all still going very well. The swarm that moved in by itself back at the rental, still kicking along great. The one that I captured is doing really well. And I actually managed to get myself a queen, so I did a hive split. Quite some time ago, I put a couple of top bars into the Langstroth hive, and they were quite well populated with that wax. They had a good lot of wax on it. They had eggs and honey, brood they call it, all over that as well. So I was able to move those 5 frames into a smaller Kenyan top bar that I've got, and I put the queen into that, and we'll see if that takes, but it's looking alright at the moment. It will take a few days for them to get the queen out though, because what happens is you put the queen in there in a little cage, plugged up with like candy, and then by the time the bees eat through that, which takes them a few days, they've got used to the queen's scent, and they accept her as the new queen. That's how you put a new queen into a beehive. Because if you just chuck the queen in there, the others would go, "You're not our queen, we don't even know where our queen is, but we're going to kill you because you're not our queen." So that's how you do that. Now, I've had quite a lot of questions from you. It's great. I didn't realise there was so much interest in the bees. So I thought I'd just address a little bit about the bees and the life cycle and that sort of thing. So basically what happens is the queen, she's the only one that lays eggs, obviously. What she does is she lays male eggs and female eggs. Now the male eggs turn into drones, and the drones basically, they don't have a sting. They can't sting you. They're slightly bigger than the normal bees, and all they do is hang out with the other blokes and wait for a pretty queen to come along, and hopefully there'll be one of the 19 or so lucky that gets to mate with a queen. That's their sole purpose in life. Pretty easy for them. The female eggs though, they turn into the workers, and this is how a queen gets made as well. So basically, when the female eggs hatch, they hatch into like a little, looks like a little maggot, a little grub, okay, or like a little white caterpillar. For the first 3 days, all eggs, or all caterpillars, they get fed royal jelly. Now at the end of 3 days, they then move to start feeding those little grubs what they call bee bread, which is like pollen and honey and that sort of stuff. But if they want it to turn into a queen, they actually continue to feed that little grub royal jelly. That little grub eats royal jelly for the entire time until it goes into its little cocoon and pupates, and then it will turn into a queen. Now what that queen has to do, it needs to fly out. I think they fly up to a couple of 100 meters, and there's groups of drones just flying around up there in little swarms, hanging out a couple of 100 meters above the earth, and that's what the queen's looking for. She'll go get mated, she'll come back to her hive. That's the last time she flies. she's then capable of producing fertile eggs because she's been fertilized. So that's what happens with a queen. Now we can actually make lots of queens because they have a very special little capsule that they make. It's not just the normal standard piece of honeycomb, and I'll show you that in another video. But anyway, we can propagate the queens, and that's what we do. There's a whole process around it that probably raises even more questions. Well, why don't they kill all the other queens, etc., etc. I'll cover that later on. Anyway, so that's basically what happens. So you can actually make the queens, and therefore if you do lose a queen, because a hive can't survive without a queen, not for very long anyway. So if you do lose a queen, you can get another queen and put it in, as I said, and whatnot. But anyway, that's how queens get made. So the worker bees, by the way, for about the first 7 days after they hatch, they just work cleaning up the hive. They're cleaners. And then for the next 7 days, I believe it is, they actually become nurse bees. They look after the babies, the little baby bees, and feed them and that sort of thing. And then they get promoted again, and they actually go out and start foraging, and that's when they leave. They go out, and they'll do that during summertime, maybe for 3 or 4 weeks, and then they've actually worn their wings out, they'll die. The bees will live a lot longer during winter because they're not out flying all the time. They spend a lot of time just kind of like in hibernation in the hive, so they will live for a lot longer. The queen bee, however, she can live for several years. The drones, they've got a pretty short life as well, so if they don't mate within a certain time, I think they just cark it as well. Anyway, that's a little bit about the bees. Now I'm also going to just finish off by showing you a little bit of extra footage that I got on the game trail camera set up over the back there. So let's have a look at that footage now. So the game trail did a good job of picking up this male blue wren. Only the males sport that vibrant blue, the females are a soft brown colour. This is a common brush-tailed possum. They come in a variety of colours in Tasmania. It depends on the forest that they live in. We've got heaps of these dark coloured ones around our block. I just thought I'd add a few more shots of the quolls and the Tassie devils simply because I think they're really cool. And those bush rats are back again. I still don't have a positive ID on them yet, so I don't know whether they're the introduced species or the others. Now, this newcomer is a swamp harrier. The swamp harrier only spends spring and summer in Tasmania. It flies back over to the mainland for autumn and winter. Interestingly, it nests on the ground and not in the trees. And as you can see, it's doing a pretty good job of harassing this forest raven. So, there you go. I hope you like those little bits of animal footage as well. Anyway, that is it for us this week. So, I hope you've enjoyed this one. There's going to be lots more happening now as the weather's warming up. We're going to be doing heaps of stuff, heaps of projects. It's going to be fantastic. So, yeah. Anyway, you guys have a great weekend and a great week. Stay safe. Thanks very much for watching. I really appreciate it. Share it to other people. I'm sure that there's a lot of other people that would love to see this, see what we're doing. Plenty of people finding it interesting. I'm sure that your friends and that will too. So anyway, take care. I will catch you next time. Cheers.